All right, today I'm walking from the boat over to the Vallarta Yacht Club where Paradise Village Marina is hosting a hurricane preparedness get-together. We've been through 8 seasons of hurricanes, but I think you can never learn too much. So that's what I'm off to go do. Hey everyone, and welcome back aboard. If you're new here, I'm Alexa, a former middle school teacher now working remotely as an educational consultant. This is my other half, Pat. He still works full-time as a captain for Alaska Airlines, but also captains and maintains our 57-foot Nordhavn Noeta during his days off. And the fluffiest member of our crew is Gilligan. He's our 9-year-old boat cat who only knows the salty boat life. Over the past 9 years, we've lived full-time aboard a Nordhavn 46, a 50, and now our 57, cruising the west and east coasts of North America. For the past 8 years, we've chosen to cruise the Pacific coast of Mexico because it's been a perfect place for Pat to commute from and, well, because it's amazing. But that also puts us in the heart of a hurricane zone. So, today we're tackling a question we often get asked as full-time liveaboards in the tropics. How do you handle living aboard during hurricane season? So today, we're breaking down why our location in Banderas Bay is known as one of the best hurricane holes in the region, how we navigate strict marine insurance rules in a storm zone, and the steps we take to prep Noeta whenever tropical weather starts brewing. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's get right into it. All right, so with us today we have Dick Markey, who is, what's your role at the marina?
Harbor Master.
Harbor Master, but how many years have you been here?
29.
29 years. So
I designed it, built it, and managed it.
So he is here from the beginning. So if you haven't met him, he is a legend here at Paradise. But he was gracious enough to give us a wonderful presentation today about hurricane preparedness. And these are all things you've learned from doing this for...
Actually experienced, yeah.
Yeah. And this area generally is pretty safe from hurricanes because of Cabo Corrientes, but it can always happen here, right?
Yes, we've had 2 in 30 years.
Two that came into the bay directly or came at the marina directly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always seem to get the edge and the hard rains and
That's basically it, but 2 that actually came in.
that were people you evacuated and
Yeah,
yeah.
did everything.
And how was the condition of the marina afterwards?
We had no damage.
Awesome. These guys do an amazing job, have an amazing team. And what I liked about what you said today is whatever his guys say, we do. If they say leave, we leave. If they say change how you're tying things, we do it. And if we don't, we have to answer to him. So I appreciate that.
Well, in addition to that, the guys have been here for 28 years, so
Yeah.
they've been through this many times.
Yeah, so they know what they're doing, so we listen to them, absolutely. But it also means that helps keep my boat safe, and I really appreciate that. So it's going to be a great season, and hopefully nothing that we need to evacuate for.
No,
Okay,
I'm looking forward to it too.
all right, thanks for letting us be here.
Sure.
Okay. All right, I have just left the Vallarta Yacht Club here, which is just down at the end of E-Dock here at Paradise Village, where Dick Markey, the harbor master here at Paradise, gave a really great presentation about hurricane preparedness. We've been here in this region for 8 years and have yet to experience we've had lots and dozens of hurricanes each year pass by us, but because of our geography, we've not experienced a direct one and hopefully never do. But his talk today about preparedness, I learned a few things that I hadn't thought about that were really great pointers for living in an area where it's always potential that a hurricane does come through. So I'm going to share some of that with you guys because his wealth of knowledge of 30 years of being here, I think can benefit a lot of people.
Hey, hurricane season here in the Eastern Pacific, along Mexico, North America, down through here, runs May 15th through November 30th. So the coast of Mexico and Banderas Bay, where we're located, is very unique and offers some very good protection for us. The Sierra Madre Mountains runs up the coast, the Pacific coast of Mexico, and it adds kind of like a shield. It kind of keeps the storms along the coastline, keeps them from coming in, and it also acts as a buffer and literally it'll push the storm off the coast and away from us. And the topography of Banderas Bay, I think we looked at this as the 4th largest bay in the world. Anyway, you come up Cabo Corrientes, the point, And then the bay is deeply set back away from the coastline. So these storms will run up the coast and typically hit Corrientes and just keep going, kind of like a deflector shield. And they'll keep going and they'll literally aim right for the Baja and Cabo San Lucas and that area. Okay, so more specific to where Noeta is located, we're in the more or less the back end of Banderas Bay. We're tucked behind a big resort, big buildings, lots of structures that'll act as a wind barrier. We're in Paradise Village Marina, and it's also located on an estuary. So there's a lot of low-lying land behind us, and the pilings are high enough that when the water, if there is a surge, the water will get high enough and it'll start spilling out onto the lowlands. And that, in a sense, is very good too, because that's what actually causes most of the damage in hurricanes. All right, now let's go look at some current weather, what's going on right now. A little weather brief. We are kind of in the beginning to come into the middle of hurricane season, really. September, October is when it really starts pumping, the water's warming up. You can see here we have a tropical storm offshore right now. We're the little blue, the white dot below Tepic and above Colima City. You can see, I'm just going to speed through this. There goes one. There's going to be two more that form, tropical storms and maybe hurricanes. And that takes us through Wednesday, September 2nd. This one here, depending on the model, has it coming right up the coast or even spinning offshore. They tend to spin offshore still. There's a blocking high pressure over central Mexico that will keep it from coming onshore, and then there's a high pressure north of there over the Four Corners region, which also kind of acts as a little bit of a block as well. So that is why it's really tough this time of year in Mexico for us to get off the dock other than short little day excursions, because these things, especially now, just start coming up the coast. And due to the topography of the Mexican coast, you can see from like Acapulco all the way up, there's just mountains there, and it tends to act as a block to all the weather. So that's what we rely on. And then the fact that the bay is so deep inset that the storms will go by. We'll get a little wind sometimes, lots of rain, and interestingly, we'll get a backflow. The wind will come from shore through the valley behind us, behind Vallarta, and feed the storm. That's about, knock on wood, the worst that we see. All right, now we're going to talk about marine insurance and the hurricane season. Typically, insurance companies, underwriters, there's a line of latitude, typically around 20 degrees north latitude. If you're above that, you tend to be out of the zone. They still may require coverage because the remnants of hurricanes, tropical storms can hit, your boat. If you're south of this line, and every insurance company might be a little different, typically it's 20 degrees north, you will need either named storm coverage, which we have named and numbered storm coverage, or you don't. You can forego that coverage, but now you're taking a huge risk on your boat, and if you lose your boat, it gets damaged, you're not covered. In fact, your policy may even be void because a lot of companies, a lot of underwriters will specifically say you need to be out of that zone. Down here in Mexico with our underwriter, there are safe zones, hurricane holes like we are here in Banderas Bay. Another one might be La Paz. Puerto Escondido is another one. Barra, south of us, ironically, is often listed as a safe haven. I don't like it because every storm that comes up the coast also goes right by there, so you're going to see a lot of action when storms start rolling. With named storm coverage, the deductible does go up, and it can go up pretty substantial. You just got to check with your individual carrier. There are also coverage limitations. Down in Mexico, every foreign boat needs to have a Mexican liability insurance policy by a Mexican company. But that coverage does not cover you in the event that your boat causes storm-related damage. You're on the hook for that. There are moratoriums. Oftentimes, an insurance underwriter will now essentially freeze the policy in that you can't add storm coverage once storm season started. So you want to get ahead of the curve on this one. Before the storm season, you want to have You want to have that coverage in place. A lot of times, insurance vendors, well, not a lot of time, like every time, you need to submit a hurricane plan. What are you going to do with your boat? If you're gone, you'll need a captain, you need a caretaker, and a lot of companies require that anyway, but especially during storm season, and you have to have a detailed plan for that, what that caretaker is going to do. We live aboard, so we just submit a plan and what we're going to do in the event of a hurricane. Once you submit that plan, that's a binding part of your policy. You can't deviate from it. So make sure when you do something, you're familiar with it and you can do it. Important thing to do during storm season is photograph everything. Photograph how you tied the boat up. Photograph the inside of the boat, the outside of the boat. Make sure you document everything before and after for insurance and for whatever else. All right, we're going to show you some of the stuff that's on our checklist and what we do for storm prep.
Okay, you want to have a plan, and we talked about that earlier about your insurance would need a plan. Sometimes marinas do too. A couple things, we're going to talk about a couple of the things that need to be on that plan. The big one is wind reduction. If it can be moved, it can also be blown away. It can be blown into the water onto another boat. So up here, there are all sorts of things we would do if we had a hurricane. We would take this canvas off. We would take the plug out of the dinghy so it's not going to fill with water, which is actually how it already is. We would also lash this down to the dock or to the boat. It has 3 points of contact where we would lash that down. Also, we have a bunch of stuff sitting up here that we can move, and so we would either get it indoors, we would get it out of the way of wind, we would remove our solar panel, we would take off any canvas that could be caught, shredded, and taken away. So basically, wind reduction, get rid of everything that can blow away. Also, you're going to increase the number of lines you have. You're going to tighten all the lines. You're going to check your lines. You're going to put chafe guards on your lines anywhere that it could chafe away, both at the dock and on the boat. In our scenario, we have a piling right over here. We would also tie off to that piling in the event of an actual hurricane coming in. We have a piling up at our bow also, and we would likely go ahead and tie off onto that piling too. The more lines you have, the better in this scenario. This marina also likes you to be able to tie across, and they would assist us in doing that, and so, or perhaps tie to the boat next to you. I did ask Dick at the meeting if I see something on a neighbor's boat that I'm not happy with, maybe something that could blow and damage my boat, maybe their lines are chafed, can I get on that boat and would it screw up insurance or anything? And he said, absolutely. In the event of an emergency, you can sure take care of the things around your boat. The first thing I would probably do is go to the marina, see if they would help me out and make sure that it is okay. There's always that fine line of boarding somebody else's boat, but if it's about taking care of the whole neighborhood, then you'd absolutely do it. And really it is a big boating community, so we're always looking for things throughout the marina that might be issues, and we would let the marina know that. Another thing that sits on our checklist is checking all your power sources, your generators, your bilges, all of your systems to make sure that in the event of an emergency, in the event you lose power or take on water, your boat can handle it, and that everything's working as it's supposed to. We also make sure that all of our devices, our phones, our backup power sources for our phones are also fully charged going into any storm. The other things that are all charged are all of your handheld VHF radios, just so that you can be able to listen to those, the channel 16 and 22. Here at the marina, it's also channel 11. That's the one that the marina itself will use, but they will share information on all 3 of those channels. So VHF, and then also whatever your weather monitoring systems are, make sure they're all up to date and that you can access those either with Starlink or with phone service or whatever other way that you're going to be monitoring those weather systems. There are hundreds of lists out there on the internet. AI can generate you one for your specific boat. Obviously, sailboats are going to have a lot different considerations with furling of their masts and that kind of thing. So you'll obviously create one for yourself and that works for you, your crew, and your location. It's also really important to know your evacuation plan. At what point you need to have a decision plan for when is it time to leave the boat. It's just not worth it and you need to get off your boat. This marina has a clear evacuation plan and they've been through it with all the boaters. We know that these gates, this gate that's right down here is going to be locked open. It won't, you won't need a key card to get out, but you need to know where you're going to go and at what point you're going to go. Also, in the event a hurricane is coming this direction, we would have a hurricane ditch kit by the door. It's a little different than a jump overboard ditch kit. It's going to have some different things. You need to think about what it is you need. Do you need medication for a week? Do you need a little bit of food, a little bit of water? What is it you would want if you're going to have to get off your boat right now? For us, that includes things for the cat. So we would also have the cat carrier sitting by the door. We would have some food and maybe a little bowl so that he can, you know, we want Gilligan to be comfortable if we have to leave the boat. So do think about any kids or pets and what they're going to need in the event of an evacuation. At some point, if you need to go, your life is way more important than this vessel.
All right, here we are. We got another little update going on. We got the tropical depression out there, tropical storm, and then you can see a little more development. We'll close that out. You can just see the tropics kind of firing. We get a little gap through the Tuanapec there that feeds energy in. You can see down here, further down towards Panama, Nicaragua, there's another gap. And that kind of is the birthplace of all these storms for the Eastern Pacific. And you see another one spinning up and then kind of goes a little quiet. That's out to September 3rd. So that is the latest little tropical update. Also, the high pressure over central Mexico, Mexico City is holding strong, and that's another barrier to these storms coming on shore.
All right, Jack and I came out to see how windy it is for Hurricane Nora that just passed by. A little windy out here. Yeah. A little wind. Hi, Jack. Gusts into 35.
Okay, so she's staring at me longingly. So it's important to remember when you're down here in the tropics or anywhere there's hurricanes, it could be South Florida, it could be anything like that, to have knowledge, be prepared, and have a plan. Although, like Mike Tyson used to say, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. So you're going to have to adapt as well and just roll with it.
Yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't mean stop cruising.
Never, never. No, it's like when we were in Seattle, if you didn't do anything in the rain, you'd never do anything. So,
right. So don't let fear keep you.
Yeah, don't let fear keep you tied up to the dock. You know, you look here and, you know, really the Mexicans are out here every single day. They could have a Cat 5, you know, 100 miles offshore and they're doing charters.
Yeah, we actually do. Maybe
yeah,
not
we actually
Cat 5.
do. Yeah, we actually do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how do I do this?
I don't know. How do you do this?
And like I said, there are lots of plans online, or you could have an AI create you a hurricane preparedness plan. Members, we are going to share our plan with you. Check out the posts in the membership tab, and we'll show you what ours says on it. Always a living, breathing document, changes by location and
it changes boat. It changes as we get more information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if some of you guys, if you want to see it, you want to join our membership, I'm going to put a membership video at the end of this so you can just see what that's all about. The rest of you don't miss out on anything. I'm still giving you our weekly Friday video or Sunday videos, sometimes a Thursday video.
Yeah.
But there are some perks there for members who want those. But remember, you guys, you are the captain of your vessel. You make the decision where you're going to put your boat, what plan you're going to use, what insurance, if insurance. So what we're giving you today is not the end-all, be-all. It's our experience.
I'm the captain now.
You're the captain, yes, but I make the decisions.
When she lets me.
So this is all just our experience. And we know a lot of you have been through hurricanes, you've prepped for hurricanes, you have, oh, we got some music going on. That's fun.
New boat.
Yeah.
It's a new charter boat.
we know that a lot of you guys have been through these, so we do want to hear what kind of preparations have you done that are unique maybe to your boat or your
We
region?
actually know the guy on the boat.
Is that Angel?
Yeah.
Hola, Angel. Oh, that is a big one.
Yeah.
Aw. We're just giving you guidelines that we've done so far. We know a lot of you guys have lived through hurricanes, you've prepped for hurricanes. We want to know in the comments, what kind of plans do you make? What's happened maybe during a scariest moment when a hurricane came through? People like to hear these stories, so put them in the comments. Is there anything we've said that you would do differently? Because we are also always learning. So we don't know all of it.
Far from it.
And we have yet to have a hurricane dead on, knock on teak. So share with us in the comments. Throughout this episode, we've shown you a couple of times of the storms that have been passing by this week. So we're going to leave you with Fridays. I'll put the date. I don't even know what date that is. Friday of what's happened with those 3 storms that were heading up our coast. And so you can see those
And
here at
what's
the
new.
very end. And what's new. Yeah. So we want to say thanks, you guys, for following along. Be sure to hype, like, subscribe, do all the things, and check out our latest weather. Have a good day, guys.
Cheers.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's morning of Friday the 28th. Here's a last little weather update before this video goes out. You can see down here, we have forecast for high seas. It's a tropical depression right there. And then down here in the tropics, you can see the Tehuantepec, and from Panama, there's quite a bit of flow coming in from the Caribbean side. And that usually feeds all the Eastern Pacific storms. Now you can see as we go out, there's another one that develops right up here, but that won't affect us or the Baja at all. And then it gets pretty quiet. So maybe the start of something new down here. You can see maybe a little bit of a twist or turn starting down here, but that's the latest forecast. That takes us through September 6th. This is Predict Wind Pro. This is an app that we use almost exclusively for our weather forecasting and routing. Encourage you guys to take a look at them. We'll have a link that you can use to subscribe or not, but just use the app. A lot of it's free. You get more features if you use Predict Wind Pro, which is what we use. So have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend.